Good afternoon, students. My name is Sherry Peters. I'm one of the lead career coaches here in the Career Center. And I was asked today to present on Gallup strengths. So here we go. When we think about assessments, there are many of them out there. There are cognitive assessments, sales, career, personality, as well as diagnostic assessments. With Gallup strengths, what was really interesting is that Professor Clifton came up with this assessment and really thought about what would happen if we studied what was right with all of us rather than just what was wrong. So when we think of our own strengths, we've got to look at it through that lens. What is right with me, right? And strengths are a collection of really just our own personal natural abilities that if we develop will certainly bring us success in multiple environments, however we choose to apply our strengths. So self-awareness really begins with each one of us. Think about it. Why do you make a particular choice in life? And why do you do what you do? And perhaps there's certain things out there that you just really prefer, you really, really like. And why are you just naturally better at some things more than other things? It's our own talents. And if we really develop those talents that we have, they're going to align with what many of our strengths are. When we think of talent, I think a lot of times we immediately go to the arts, right? The theater, being creative in that way, or to sports, right? Athletes who are, excellent at their craft. But we all have talent. And our talents, and also known as our strengths, those can make us excel. Those can make us stand out over other individuals if we truly understand what those strengths are and learn how to apply them in a variety of situations. Strengths can really determine our own career path if we're not quite sure where we want to go, or if we know where we want to go. How do I, as an individual, incorporate those strengths so I can be successful? And our strengths might even represent the source of our success, right? I have this strength, therefore I can do this. And our strengths might even drive us into multiple careers over one's lifetime. So the options are endless for each one of us if we develop our strengths and utilize those talents that we each have. So for today, I'm going to go over just a wide variety of strengths. But first, we're going to talk about the 4 domains and what they tell us about each of the themes. When you review your assessment results, the goal is not to have a particular theme in each one of these 4 domains. It really is just simply so you can understand where your power is and how you're unique in whichever domain or domains that you are in. So let's take a quick look at each domain. Maybe you have a strength in one of these areas, such as executing. So we'll go through that one first. People who have dominant executing themes know how to make things just simply happen. And those strengths include achiever, arranger, belief, consistency, deliberative, discipline, focus, responsibility, and restorative. So individuals who just simply know how to make things happen. Our second domain is influencing. So individuals with these influencing themes know how to take charge, or they know how to speak up, and they make sure that the team is heard. The themes are activator, command, communication, competition, maximizer, self-assurance, significance, and woo. So under influencing, people who know how to just naturally take charge or naturally speak up to ensure that the team is heard. Our third domain is relationship building. So individuals with these themes have the ability to really build those strong relationships that can hold that entire team together and make the team greater than the sum of its parts. These themes include adaptability, connectedness, developer, empathy, harmony, includer, individualization, positivity, and relator. And the fourth domain, people with dominant strategic thinking, they help teams consider what could be. And these individuals, they absorb and they analyze information that can inform better decisions. So under strategic thinking, the themes include analytical, context, futuristic, ideation, input, intellection, learner, and strategic. 4 domains. Each domain has a series of themes. Now, I know this is pre-recorded and it might be a little difficult to do, but think about it. Maybe some of you would raise your hand when this question is asked. If you're always talking to people everywhere you go, in elevators or in class or in the store, wherever it is, you're that individual who's just going to go up to someone or look at them, say hello, and begin a short conversation with them. Not everyone's the same, but think about that for yourself. Perhaps you are that individual. How about this one? If you're always thinking in an orderly or in a timely manner, every moment of your waking hours listed, you know precisely which tasks in order you're going to get completed. You are so effective with the time and you're very, very efficient and you're keeping it all in order. And some of us are like that while others are not. This third area, if you always find yourself influencing others, so you get the team and you influence them or persuade them to go in one direction over another, or you're a mentor to someone, always influencing, and maybe some of you are. And then lastly, if you're strategically thinking all the time, chess is a very good example of that. Try to strategize what that next move is going to be. But you're a thinker. You really internally think about what that next strategic move is going to be. And for some, this is how they are, and for others, they are not. None of us are exactly the same, right? It's okay. We're each unique, and we each bring a wide variety of strengths, which we're going to go through in a moment. As you look through your list with yourself, obviously, we're not having this discussion, but when you look at your top 5, really think about which ones do you use most frequently. And for some students, it's really thinking about maybe if they have 1 or 2 in relationship building, how do they use that? And maybe they only really use it with friends and family or those closest to them. But at work, they use their other strength, which is executing. And maybe in class, they're influencing because a student has a lot of teamwork. Think about it for yourself. Which one do you use most frequently as you look through your top 5? And maybe some of the themes that I share in the next few slides, maybe those speak a little bit more closely to you than your top 5. And that's okay. Maybe you are utilizing what we like to say is 6 through 10. Perhaps there's other themes that you incorporate into what you do right now. So I'm going to share under each of the 4 domains 2 themes. And we'll begin, and we'll go alphabetically, but we'll begin with deliberative and then talk about responsibility. So if deliberative is your theme, maybe it's in your top 5 under executing domain. Deliberative is best described by the serious care that an individual takes in making decisions or choices. These individuals anticipate those obstacles that could come up, and they really have the ability to reduce risk and prevent problems. The example I like to use for this theme is knowing that if a person works in emergency management, they would perhaps, if they have deliberative as their top 5, they know how to anticipate what could happen if there is a disaster. But they also have that ability to reduce the risk and to really prevent problems down the road. If deliberative is in your top 5, maybe it's taking serious care when you decided what major you wanted to be in, or the choices you made for the courses that you complete. So now we're going to look at responsibility. Again, this is under the executing domain. So an individual with responsibility theme, they follow through to the completion, whether a project or a task. And people look to someone with responsibility first to get something done. And they're also known as utterly dependable. And so perhaps you're listening and responsibility is one of your top 5. Perhaps you are that go-to. You're that individual that's very dependable, and people turn to you when they need to get something done. So now we're going to move on into the influencing domain. And we'll look at activator and maximizer. An activator under influencing is that person that often says, when can we start? Only action can make things happen, and only action leads to performance. And you know, as an activator, that you will be judged by what you get done. It's the individual looking at the next task, wanting to get it done, and knowing full well they'll be judged by the performance that they do. So maximizer, when it comes to the theme, they look at excellence as their measure. They transform something from good to great or from awesome to superb. And these are individuals that just excel at rapid learning. Again, it's under influencing. Ask a question about yesterday's topic for class. They've learned it, and they'll be able to describe it out. So our third domain under relationship building is adaptability, and then we'll look at relator. Adaptability under relationship building, you live in the moment. You discover your future one choice at a time. They're very flexible, but they stay productive. So they're able to adapt, living in the moment. This could be an individual who works, just as an example, works at a daycare center. They live in the moment. They may have 10 3-year-olds in the classroom, and they've got to be very flexible. And they want to stay productive because they want to help each of those young ones to develop and they live in the moment because anything happens with 10 3-year-olds in a classroom, right? And maybe that's the first step as a part-time role. And then they move into something different that's more aligned with their own future. But it's one step at a time. The next one under relationship building is relator. So with this strength or with this theme, a relator enjoys close relationships with other individuals. They find deep satisfaction in working hard with their friends to achieve the goal. Sometimes this works out really well in a classroom setting, especially if a friend or a couple of friends are in a class together and there's a group project. So they're able to just naturally work hard with those friends to really get to that end goal. And the fourth domain is strategic thinking. We're going to briefly review context and intellection. So context under strategic thinking, individuals with this theme look back to understand the answers for current questions. Blueprints bring these individuals confidence, and they make better decisions by understanding the structure of things. A quick example might be an individual who's been in a position for a while, but they know what happened in the past, and they're able to review it, either paper or online if they save files, or they recall it and talk about what was done the very first time, how it could be changed, knowing what the past was, what the requirements are, and what they can do for the next time. So they look back, they assess what happened before, so a better informed decision can be made for the future. Intellection under strategic thinking. With this theme, individuals like to collect certain things. It could be books, could be quotations, and even facts. You want to know more with intellection. You crave information. And with this theme, if it's in your top 5, potentially have an active curiosity and find many different things very interesting. When I review this one, I think of potential individuals who work in a library or who are curators for historical libraries like Huntington Library. They just have an active curiosity and they just crave that information. And maybe they are a prominent figure because they've spent a lot of time studying what quotes or what books are interesting to them, and they're able to speak on that topic and learn more about those books or the history behind it. So intellection, really interesting. So with that said, I reviewed quite a number of themes, maybe one or two aligned with your top 5 and maybe not. With the ones I mentioned, as I said earlier, maybe you think one or a couple of those should be in your top 5. That's the beauty of strengths. You're not required to look at your top 5 and stick to those top 5. We're ever changing. And maybe after about 5 to 8 years, if you were to take your Gallup strengths again, maybe you would notice that there's some shifts with your strengths, depending on your work experiences or the different situations you may be involved with. Our strengths can change over time. But with that said, I want to go through the careers with the themes, just so we're taking it to that next level. So when we look at strength themes and your career, under each of these areas, I picked 4 themes. So under executing, deliberative, here's just some pointers to think about. When we think of career, a deliberative person may want to collect as much information as they can about careers that are interesting to them and not move ahead too quickly with the decisions that they're making. Under influencing activator, maybe they want to try various roles rather than jumping into a specific career right away. And maybe it's entrepreneurial activities that might help this influencing theme activator to feel fulfilled in a career. And relator, this individual, hopefully they do have a mentor, but really talk to that mentor about career planning and that process as you decide what sort of career you want to go into. Meaningful relationships are most rewarding in the careers for relationship building relator theme. And lastly, under strategic thinking, in election, perhaps gather books on the career of interest, and maybe for in election, find environments where you can have those philosophical debates while still being productive, and look for environments that challenge you intellectually. I encourage you all to really view your top 5 for yourself. What resonates the most among all of your 5? And what potential challenges might you have when you review your top 5? Unfortunately, we need to skip the activity. But one of the areas on our website that I want to share, which is a little bit different than your Gallup strengths, our digital resources can help you with your career search. Can also help you to create those marketing tools for yourself once you start looking for positions out in your fields. The digital career resources provides a whole host of options for you. VMOC is our brand new tool. It is AI-based and helps with resume development. 2 unique features about VMOC. One, it takes about 30 seconds for your resume to electronically get reviewed. Second, you can also upload a job description along with your resume, and it will go through and highlight information for you and help you to improve your score on your resume. So it's a phenomenal tool that's very underutilized, but everyone has access to it through their Cal Poly Pomona single sign-on. In fact, all of the items listed here to the right require a single sign-on. The next is Big Interview. Big Interview is a wonderful tool for students to use when they are practicing for their upcoming interviews. It's not only general questions, but it's also industry-based as well as competency-based. And if you are a student thinking about graduate school, it's more common now for grad schools to interview students. And Big Interview, again, can be used 24/7. Everything's pre-recorded. And there's a new function on Big Interview. If you would like to have immediate feedback, you can utilize the eye calibration option that they have on the system. Handshake, as many of you know, is our job portal system. And there are all sorts of jobs that you can find, part-time or even full-time. Going Global is another great site, single sign-on, where you can look for jobs or internships all around the world, and you can set the parameters on that. UConnect is part of our digital resources, and this is basically our website. So make sure you utilize it. We've updated it to provide as many resources for areas of interest for students. So please utilize it as often as needed. CPP Connect Should you wish to schedule a one-on-one appointment with a career coach, CPP Connect provides you that option under Career Services once you log into your account. And lastly, Focus to Career is another assessment tool which offers students a wide variety of options to assess whether you're career ready, to find out which kind of areas within jobs or industries that are most interesting to you, and so forth. Focus to Career is a great tool because it is all self-reporting, and students can create their own account using the single sign-on. You can download the information. There are also additional sites to look up jobs and opportunities as well. So a phenomenal tool. We have not yet officially launched it, but it is available for all students to use. And I would encourage you, if you enjoyed this assessment and would like to know a little bit more about yourself, utilize Focus to Career. There's a wide variety of resources there for you. The reference is listed here. If you have any questions, always feel free to contact myself or the Career Center at any time, and we'd be more than happy to go through your Gallup strengths in detail should you have additional questions. And I appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your day.